11 years ago, I quit gluten. I never looked back. I counted 7 changes in my body. I wanted to make a video about that because people made videos 12 years ago. I saw them on YouTube talking about their experiences. Those videos empowered me enormously, so I wanted to share my experience too. Of course, it's not universal. What happened to me not necessarily will happen to everyone, because our bodies are different and our experiences are different and our perception of reality is different. But at least you can say that you know a person who experienced all those changes and all those effects of becoming gluten-free. The transformations that my body experienced are very similar to those that Bella is going through in the movie Twilight, when she is experiencing this shift from a human to non-human person. For those who never watched Twilight, I don't want to spoil the story, so just know that there is this girl in the movie who quits being human and turns into something a bit different. So first similarity is the turning point. In that movie, Bella is choosing to be this non-human being because she wants to stay present. She wants to stay with her love of her life. For me, the inspiration came from very similar feeling that I am dying, that my body was collapsing. I was diagnosed with autoimmune thyroid condition. My thyroid was overactive, and as you know, all organs in the body, they have receptors for thyroid hormones. So when our thyroid becomes overactive, it means that production of those hormones is exaggerated. Every organ in our body overworks. In the beginning, it feels like okay, because you're faster than everyone else. But then your thoughts become so fast that you don't even know what you're thinking. All organs in your body, they go in complete chaos. I was desperate, just like Bella was. And I did a lot of experiments with food, and I also started to meditate. I also was meeting with my doctor, my endocrinologist, and I was taking medication, and I knew that medication is only for short time, and the purpose of that medication was to manage my symptoms. They had nothing to do with root cause of my autoimmunity. So I learned very quickly that autoimmunity and the level of inflammation in the body are very much connected, and then I tried to eat food that is less inflammatory. It was already almost a year when I decided to quit gluten for a month and see what will happen. When you start to get interested in autoimmunity, you will see lists of foods that major triggers. Gluten is always on the top of that list, especially for people with autoimmunity that affects thyroid. That was before I became a nutrition teacher. So my knowledge at the time was the knowledge of someone who is sick and who is desperate to look for information. So I thought that I will experiment. I quit not only gluten for this short period of time that I thought it would be a short period of time, dairy, also meat and fish, all animal products, also eggs. Gluten was my staple food. Wheat was everywhere. I would eat wheat every day. My mom is from northern Lithuania, and cuisine in northern Lithuania is the same like in Tuscany. So a lot of wheat. Quit gluten for me, it was a major step, and I only did it because I watched on YouTube so many videos of people who tried to do that, and I knew that it's possible, and also because I thought I'm doing this just for experiment's sake. So if I will not be better after 3 weeks or maybe after a month, I just will go back to my usual menu. In that case, I was different than Bella in Twilight, but similarity is that I was just the same amount desperate. I just had this deep necessity and commitment. I was at the stage where if someone would say, okay, in order to feel healthy again, get back your life, you need to go on your knees from this city to that city, I would do that. You know, I would not question, and I would not argue, and would not participate in debates about what's working, what's not. I will, in a mood that I will try everything. That was the level of my desperation. The second similarity, if you remember the transformation in the film, the body of Bella is slowing down. It is going into kind of freeze, cold mode. Her heart stops. The feeling like of cold and frost and winter that happens in her body. I had a very similar experience, and it was very nice, because when you have overactive thyroid, your body is too hot. Anywhere you go, reactions of your body that helps your body to cool down, so you sweat a lot. Your face is red, at least my face was red. When thyroid slows down, what happens is this pleasant feeling of stillness happening. Just like in the movie, when Bella's heart slows down, there seems to be a freeze in time before she awakens. I also went through this feeling, this experience. My overactive thyroid finally slowed down. I had no more racing heartbeat. My internal chaos disappeared. I was measuring my heartbeat every night, and my dream was for it to be 90, no more than 90. At some point it was impossible. Even though I was taking medication that started to slow down my thyroid, still my heartbeat would be like 100, 110 during the night when I was calm. Little by little, it started to change, to go down. So I remember going from 95 to 90, then to 88, then to 85, then to 80. When I got to 70, I stopped counting and I stopped measuring. It just felt so free and empowered. This was kind of a revelation to me, that the power of the body lies in stillness. We assume that being fast, it equals to be efficient and smart. Real power lies in stillness. The third similarity was strength. If you remember, in the movie, Bella gets exceptionally strong. She can beat everyone. The strongest man is just a joke for her. I had very similar feeling because during my illness, I lost a lot of strength. I lost a lot of muscle mass, and also my muscles, they were not able to relax. So there is a signal that goes from the brain to the muscles and tells muscles to relax after they were tense. Somehow the signal was not going through. I was always very, very tense. I remember I had to take exam in my violin school. I was learning violin at that time. It wasn't possible because you cannot play if your body is like stiff. So my body was stiff and weak, fragile. And then with my thyroid slowing down and inflammation in my body going down, everything became normal again. So I was able to walk, feeling that I'm becoming stronger. I had this feeling that those things that are gone forever, and I will never be able to gain back my strength. And the strength came back, and for me it was supernatural. Even maybe it was the same as it was before illness, but for me it was like a gift. The shaking of my body, that was really unpleasant and uncontrollable and embarrassing, was gone. My body finally felt steady and powerful. My body started to rebuild itself. The strength that returned, it was kind of raw. The fourth similarity was most unexpected. I was shocked. Speed and mobility. Since I remember myself, since very early childhood, I was a child that would never run. Like playing with other kids, I would prefer games where we would not run. We would just do something like talk, just do some stuff that doesn't include running and jogging and jumping and a lot of movements. My school was semi-sport school because head of the school was physical education teacher. So he turned the school as kind of undercover sports school. There were years when we would have like 4 physical education lessons per week. It's almost every day. We would have a lot of teams competing on different levels in different games, regionally and also on national level. And the school was famous for having kids fit and strong and very like sport-minded. But I was nothing like that. My teachers would say not very pleasant things to me. I don't think that it damaged me in any way because I really wouldn't care what they say. My friends never bullied me for my slow movement. Maybe when we would have teams, I assumed that nobody would want me on their team, but they never showed it, and I'm grateful. When we would have the running competitions, or not competitions, just we would have to run like 3 kilometers during the class, I would ask my mom if I can skip the classes that day, and she would usually allow me to do that. She would do that because she also had the same body. It's difficult to explain to people that are very fit what does that mean to have a body that has constant inflammation, because I would have constant inflammations even before my thyroid got into chaos. Even as a child, as a teenager, I would have high level of inflammation in my body. That was not perceived at the time as a very unique thing. Doctors would say, okay, you have high inflammation markers, and that's it. But what that means, the energy of my body was kind of stolen, and I was not able to use this energy for sports. I would also have what is called youth arthritis. I assume that many people have it. I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to that. I had my joints not only painful but also heavy. They were not swollen on the outside, but I would feel them as swollen. So I would have those symptoms of internal inflammation all the time, but I was never thinking that it's something unusual. Many people in my family have arthritis. So I just assumed, okay, that's how bodies in my family work. So it was impossible for me to run and to participate in all those sports events that we had at our school. And I didn't pay much attention to that. I just assumed that my body's like that. When I quit gluten, 2 or 3 weeks later, I was going to work, and at the street I saw my bus going to bus stop, and it was still a distance between me and bus stop. So usually what I would do, I would just walk slowly and will wait for another bus, and then I saw myself running to the bus stop, and being able to catch the bus and to jump into the bus. And when I did it in the bus, I was shocked that I did it. I was shocked that my body did it before me thinking about that. I was surprised how fast I was, and I was also surprised to understand that for a week or maybe longer, I haven't been feeling those usual aches that I would have in my knees, in my feet, in my arms and hands and shoulders. There was no pain in my body. But because this pain disappeared so gradually, slowly, I didn't even notice that I don't have it anymore. The first week, I was still kind of afraid that maybe it will come back. And I remember clearly when I would wake up in the morning, think for myself, like, I don't need to do all those rituals that I would usually do in the morning. When you wake up and you have arthritis, and the first thing you do, you have to kind of warm up your hands and feet, just to go from this feeling of being stuck and frozen and painful, and you kind of slowly start to spread your not wings, but you do exercises, but they are very, very slow and very tiny, and they help your body, your joints to warm up. Then I would wake up in the morning and I would just do like this, and then nothing. That was the main surprise for me. I didn't expect that, you know. I quit gluten for my thyroid. I didn't know that I will also have this bonus disappearing of arthritis. That made my body so joyful and so happy. That helped me so much not to even think about gluten. Maybe first week and second week and third week, when going in the shop, I would still see those products that I would usually buy. For example, cakes. I loved cakes. The joy of the painless joints was much stronger than the wish to eat cake. Quickly I learned to bake cakes without gluten, so absence of cakes is not a problem anymore. And this pain of joints returns every time when I, by mistake, eat gluten somewhere. You know, usually it happens when I'm eating out, so I try to be careful, but sometimes those people who serve food, they don't know exactly what gluten is. One of the last episodes, I remember, it was 2 years ago in April. I went with a friend to a coffee shop and we had cake because they have gluten-free cakes, and I had those two very typical reactions that I always have when I have gluten accidentally. The first is brain fog. The second one is the aching joints. It starts next day. So when you think about Bella being so fast and running in the forest and being faster than wild animals, and the feeling of freedom and joy when she does it, that was my feeling. That is still my feeling every day. Because pain is like a cage. Not every pain can be removed just by lowering your inflammation, changing some things in your diet. But I still think that it's important for me to share this experience, for people to know that it is possible for some people, at least for some people. Majority of people that are around me that are suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, from youth arthritis, they will benefit enormously lowering the inflammation. The problem that I see that for some people it's difficult to believe that is possible, because pain is also changing our brain. We get very quickly to this idea that that's our destiny, especially if we have other family members telling us that that's how we are, or if we have friends of the similar age group that would tell you that, okay, when you're 30 something and you're starting to have joint pain, that's only natural, you know, you are aging. Or when women in perimenopause and in menopause, they are told that that's your body doing this. The pain is very often connected to inflammation. We can detect what are the main triggers of our inflammation. We can remove those triggers in some ways. It's possible. Then we can be pain-free. So fifth similarity of my transformation and transformation of Bella in Twilight was the clarity of mind. Because of gluten, all my life I would experience brain fog. I didn't know that this is brain fog. I thought it's my personality, that I would have moments of clarity and then I would have a lot of chaos in my mind. At the time I didn't know anything about neurodivergency. I didn't know about the impact of inflammation on people that are neurodivergent. I didn't know anything about methylation and ability of the body to detoxify properly, to absorb nutrients properly. I didn't know anything of that. Of course, this journey of healing and nurturing your body is long. There are a lot of changes on that road, but first effect that I felt after quitting gluten was exactly what Bella is experiencing. So her senses become very sharp. Her hearing, her ability to see, she could see very distant things in a very detailed manner. For me, also was a feeling that, you know, some veil was lifted. I still, because of structure on my brain, I still think many things at the same time, but I can see what I'm thinking. You could understand it if you ever been drunk. For people who are sensitive to gluten, the brain inflammation makes us a bit drunk. Some people love to be drunk, some people love to be intoxicated or stimulated. For me, all my life, the main wish was to feel sober, to have this clear thinking. And this clear thinking, the ability of that clear thinking became very real after quitting gluten. So for me, similarly, like for Bella, this transformation was not only about feeling better, it was about seeing life differently. So similarity number 6 is about identity. When Bella transforms from a human being to a non-human being, she needs to deal with this new reality, with a new identity. She learns to trust her instincts and to protect what she loves. It was very similar. I was able to redefine who I am. Before this transformation, I based my identity on work. I was such a workaholic. With this transformation, I had confirmation that my body knows what is good for me. So I started to trust my body, to choose healing instead of being very much like working and doing things that I think it's important to do. But I still think that they're important to do, but I prioritize healing now. I prioritize sleep over work. And also the confidence that I got with it, it is connected with this new identity. So if you are on a healing journey, be assured that you will get some new aspects of your identity. I don't think that you will add something to what you have. I think that we have all those powers in ourselves, but they are somehow hidden. And transformations, like, they help us to see how powerful we are. The similarity number 7 was this finding out about hidden power of resilience. Bella turns from human to non-human being and she surprises everyone with her emotional control. I also surprised myself. I thought if I quit gluten, I probably would be suffering because gluten is such an important part of my diet. No, I didn't suffer even one day. My mom was very worried because she thought, okay, I would not eat meat. She was okay with that. But then now I quit dairy and gluten and also fish, eggs. Like, what are you eating? Because she was worried, I started to write a vlog. I started to take pictures with my lousy phone at that time for her to be able to look at those pictures. And I'm okay, like I had food. This food was delicious, this food was beautiful. Yeah, I started to write for her, and then step by step, 5 years later, I took this program of nutrition, quit my job, and now I have students that I teach, or I would rather say that they are learning about themselves and they are learning how to implement the newest knowledge that nutritional science is providing. They are learning to implement this knowledge in their own lives. I surprise myself with my creativity, with my ability to find resources around me and to use them. I don't like to cook, but I'm still thriving on this gluten-free nutrition, and I understand limitations of my body better now, and what is more important, I understand the power of my body much better now after that transformation, just like Bella did.